how do I tell my child and how do I have these conversations with them? And I always answer with, the younger, the better, because if you start having those conversations quite young, it just becomes like it was in my life. It was quite normalized. And it gets easier to digest if you start their education super young and you can kind of crank up the language as the ages tick up, as was done with me. But yeah, people definitely, wonder, my child going to have concerns, or is there a concern? A lot of people want to know, well, did you need IVF to have your own family? Well, spoiler, no, I did not. And, in a lot of cases, infertility is not hereditary. So it totally depends on your personal situation. Just because you have IVF yourself doesn't mean that your child is going to have to go through reproductive tech to have a family. Maybe they will, but maybe they won't. It's just kind of on an individual basis. So I answer a lot of questions like that these days.
Yeah, well, I'm sure. Do you answer questions to people who were conceived via IVF about how they explore their own identities?
Yeah, I think if you follow me on Instagram, I have a big community on Instagram and a lot of, I call them babies of art, assisted reproductive technologies, not just IVF babies, but folks born in a non-traditional, I'll say, manner. We often have conversations in group chats about the fact that, particularly in my case, I was born via IVF and I was under a lot of scrutiny. I put a lot of pressure on myself to, in essence, make sure I was worth it for my parents. There was no doubt in my mind that I was wanted and they went through all this crazy rigmarole to have me. But I always felt this pressure of like, geez, I hope that I'm good enough. I hope that I'm worth that struggle that they went through. And a lot of the people that I've talked to that are born the same way I was have that same pressure. It's also the reason I don't like the term miracle baby. A lot of people say like, oh, this is my miracle baby through IVF. I'm always, the one in the corner that's like, ooh, being called a miracle is like a lot of pressure. And I don't particularly love that idea. I just showed up on time. I didn't really do anything. Like I didn't perform the procedure. I wasn't a doctor. I'm just here. And so now like what I do with my life is, up to me. But if I have to be your miracle, that's like a lot. That's heavy to me.
Yeah, I can imagine. And it's just probably a lot of kind of responsibility to put on somebody's shoulders.
Absolutely. Because I had so much press attention my whole life, I also went through the machinations in my head of, okay, I need to be articulate. I need to be polite. I can't be seen as a brat. I'm representing like basically an entire population that's born the way that I was. And I don't want to misrepresent those people. I'm really cognizant of I'm a spokesperson for these babies that were born after me.